Hey guys, JWar here with another video. So today we're going to look at the Elderslayer invitation farm we did and just take a look at the drops. We'll break down all the profit, do a little spreadsheet action at the end, try to figure out currency per hour and what you could expect to make if you do this farm. But I'd say it went pretty good. It's definitely a good change up from just mapping. If you're a little tired of that, the currency, like I said, is really solid. So you definitely get a lot out of it for profit. And yeah, it's pretty fun to do if you just want to switch up and stop doing regular old maps for a little bit. But alright, let's get into it. Alright guys, let's take a look at the Atlas passive tree here for the Elder Invitation farm we did. So basically, we want to take the stuff at the top here, we want to take the conqueror stuff. Basically, we're killing conquerors every time. We want to take these nodes, they give us a little more stuff every time we kill a conqueror. And then these are also very important. These are probably the two mandatory ones on the tree, the two mandatory clusters and keystones here. The Captivated Interest, we are in the Maven's Crucible when we do the Elderslayer invitation, so we want to get the increased drops from that node inside the Maven's Crucible. And then also we want to take these down here. This helps a little bit for getting the regular invitations progressed as we do our Elderslayer invitation, because when you kill the regular map balls before you kill the Conqueror in the Conqueror maps, you get credit for the other Maven's Invitation, which you can do simultaneously while you do this farm. So that's handy, and that helps a little bit towards that one. And then Orbs of Conflict, and just more drops inside the Maven's Crucibles. All this stuff up here is giving us. So you want to take those, and then nothing else really too notable. We took the top of the diamond here for a little more quant, took basically both the inner and outer ring here for more quant. And then I took a little bit of Harbinger stuff, a little bit of Essence stuff, well basically all the Essence stuff. And the idea here is just add as much free, easy stuff we could get in the map while going along and doing the Conquerors and progressing towards the Elderslayer invitation, right? Because basically the goal here is just to do the invitations as fast as possible, so we don't want too much stuff that's going to slow us down. So we blocked some stuff like Legion, didn't really want to do Legion, we don't really want to do Sacred Grove, no Abyss, that stuff's going to take too long. Breach is okay, I guess. Expedition's okay. I think I just skipped them if we saw Expedition. And then Delirium Mirror is good. If we get that, that's a little bit extra Delirium orbs and stuff in our map for free. Some more Simulacrum Splinters, right? Heist cache, Smuggler's caches are fine, right? Metamorph's fine. We could just do that real easily at the end of the map. So all that stuff was okay. You could take this out. This is really just a Headhunter node to make you get more buffs from rare monsters. You could take that out if you want. And then, yeah, I think the only thing we haven't talked about is Stream of Consciousness. We weren't using any fragments for this farm. We just basically rolled the map to pretty high quant and then threw it in without any fragments. So you could take Stream of Consciousness to get a little bit more extra encounters with League mechanics, like Delirium Mirror is probably the best one to run into when you're doing this farm. Just get a chance at those Delirium Orbs, which are sell pretty nicely right now. And then we also took Strongbox, which is just, you know, open a few Strongboxes on your way, progressing through the map, which is always going to be pretty rewarding. Oh, and then the last node cluster we should talk about here, which was actually pretty cool to add to this farm, is the Tormented Spirits. So, if you guys didn't know, these can actually spawn inside the Conqueror room. When you go inside the Conqueror room after you kill the regular map boss, they can appear on the regular map boss, but they can also appear in the Conqueror room once you go into that. And then they empower the Conquerors, and the Conquerors will drop a lot more items. It's a pretty low chance, only 10% chance to be surrounded, so we saw it a handful of times, but when we did see it, the drops were pretty good from the Conquerors. You know, you're going to get an increased chance at that Conqueror's Exalted Orb, Hunter's Exalted Orb, Redeemer's Exalted Orb, all of that stuff. It's just going to be kind of nice to add to this strategy. So that was pretty cool little addition we did there. Alright guys, so let's go over the drops we got here. So we had 21,500 chaos and drops and exalts. That's going to be about 119 exalts. Right about 120 actually, 119.9. Okay, so let's look at what we got. We got 45 Maven's Writs. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. We got about somewhere between 8 and 10 Maven's Writs per invitation. So, and there's some Crescent Splinters in the tab that are kind of separated that didn't get accumulated into a Maven's Writs, which I think we're about at 46, 47 with those. So the math checks out. We did 50 invitations, so we got about 47 Maven's Writs. You basically get about 1 per invitation in guaranteed currency. Okay. So Exalted Orbs, we didn't get 7. I kind of balanced the books here with some of the stuff we sold. I put some Exalted Orbs in the stash tab. For instance, we sold an Expedition Sentinel, which was about an Exalt. I think it was 150C, so I put an Exalt in for that after we sold it, just to balance everything, and took some Chaos out. Did that kind of stuff for a few sales we had, just to make some room in the stash tabs, because we filled up 3 full quad dump tabs with this farm. And continuing on here. A Fate Worse Than Death. This is one of the divination cards that will drop from Conquerors pretty consistently, and I think it's 1 out of 3 cards to get a Cortex, so a very nice drop there, and you will see it quite consistently. So that was really nice. And then we have some crests here from the Conquerors. Those are basically guaranteed. Got about 60 each of those. Every time you kill a Conqueror, you're guaranteed to get a crest, and then in the invitations, they'll also drop in addition. Talk about the Elderslayers invitation here for a second. So this is basically going to be a net 0 gain, right? Because we bought 25 to start out with. You can self-sustain these just doing the rotation, actually. So I probably didn't need to buy 25, which is why we have a surplus here at the end. We bought 25, and then we used the ones we were getting to sustain, and then we ended up with 22 more. So we're actually really just a loss of about 3 Elderslayer invitations, right? So we'll add that in to the breakdown at the end, but that's kind of how that worked out. It's very close to just a net 0 because you can self-sustain them once you start doing the farm, but they aren't really going to add you your profit. So we'll take that out at the end. We're probably going to have to take out, what, just 3 Elderslayer invitations. So not much at all, probably like 1 Exalt to take out. So moving on, not a whole lot to talk about here. Orb of Conflicts, we got 16 from the Maven's Crucible fight, the Invitation fight. The Mentophobia, these drop from Conquerors, so we had 40 of those. They drop pretty consistently, as well as the Justified Ambition card drop pretty consistently. Just nice little chunk there to add to our profits. And then the Exalted Orbs from the Conquerors. Looks like we had about 4 or 5 per Conqueror. And yeah, they drop, it looked like about 10% drop chance. They don't really drop from the invitations themselves too much, so we got a lot of those just from killing the Conquerors in the maps. Not a whole lot to talk about here. There's the rest of our Crescent Splinters, so yeah, we would have had, what's that? That would have been 46.7 Maven's Writs if we add the Splinters in there as well. Awakened Sextants, mostly from Sentinels, and yeah, a lot of the other stuff is going to be from Sentinels. Sentinels are very good. Bubblegum Currency, some Scarabs from Sentinels, and a lot of Essences and stuff, right? Which is why we ran Essence on the Atlas Passive tree. Okay, so that about covers it. I think we're through, what, 18,500 here out of 21,000 chaos, so that's the bulk of our drops. You can see there are a lot of stuff from Sentinels, and mainly a main chunk of our profit is coming from the guaranteed drops from the invitations and conquerors themselves, which is why this farm is pretty nice. You don't get any big rewards, but you get very consistent rewards, which makes it very nice. Okay guys, it's everybody's favorite time, it's spreadsheet time. So let's go over the profit we made here. So the cost of the 4 Conqueror maps per set was 4 Exalts per set, or 4 Conqueror maps, and we also had 40 Chaos per Elderslayer invitation, right? So we did self-sustain, just to explain the invitation situation here again real quick. We self-sustained them. We started out buying 25, but we also self-sustained them and ended up with a surplus of 22. So I just said, okay, let's call that 25, and let's say that we are taking that extra 25 out of the profit, essentially. So we're taking 25 invitations out of the profit because we self-sustain them and we're not including them in the profit, right? So that's 25 invitations at 40 C a piece. That's going to be 1,000 chaos, right? And our 50 sets at 0.7x each is going to be 35 exalts. So you've put that together, 1,000 chaos is 5.55 exalts. So our cost is going to be 40.55 exalts. Okay, so then how much do we make? This is nice and easy. We're right at 119.9 exalts or 120 exalts. I rounded up a little bit. Maybe I cheated a little bit there. I'm sure someone's going to come at me in the comments for that one. Okay, so we'll take our cost out of our profit and we end up at 79.45 exalts. So if you want to look at it in profit per rotation rather than time-based, because some people get a little weird about the time-based stuff with the estimates, and they're like, oh, you didn't factor this in, you didn't factor that in. Okay, we'll go profit per rotation. That's about 1.6 exalts right there. I think it would probably take about 10 minutes per rotation. If you're really blasting, you could do it in 10 minutes per rotation. About 2 minutes per map, a little bit more than that, and then the invitation itself takes hardly no time, and this leaves us at about 9.5x per hour if you assume 10 minutes per rotation. That's 4 maps and 1 invitation. And then, like I said, that's probably a little bit lower than it should be if we didn't factor in our 10-way invitation that you can do simultaneously, the regular Atlas invitation, which you can do simultaneous with this farm. So you'd probably realistically at about 10x per hour factoring that in. And the time it takes to do that is very short as well, probably going to take about 30 seconds. So it's really not adding much to the time there, and it's adding just a little bit more to the profit. So I'd say you're probably at about 10x an hour doing this farm. But alright guys, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you liked it, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.